All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk. Of course, this is the show we cover the SWAC inside and out, and I am your tour guide around the SWAC. See what's coming at you. And week 0 is in the books, man. What a weird, interesting week to start the season off. A lot of drama on Friday. Weather was crazy in a lot of places yesterday, so mad delays. The MEAC SWAC Challenge was delayed 2 or 3 times. A few other games were delayed a lot. Um, and then we had some exciting football in between all of that. So week 0 was definitely one for the books, man. It was, it was all that and then some to start the season off, which makes me even more excited for next week's action. Well, for this coming week's action. So we're not gonna waste a lot of time, man. We're gonna go ahead and jump into this, and we're gonna start this off with the game that a lot of people had their eyes on for various reasons. Some of the reasons were, you know, drama filled, but the FAMU North Carolina game had a lot of people's attention. Friday night, as most of you know, FAMU had to leave 20 guys or so back in Tallahassee due to some compliance eligibility issues and those kind of things. So they went into this game with like 7 offensive linemen. I think Isaiah Land did not play. A few other key guys did not play. But the Rattlers came out in this game, man, and they played a really solid first half. And honestly, they played a pretty solid 3 quarters until the depth of Carolina kind of wore them down. A couple of bad mistakes by the Rattlers sealed their fate late, but they dropped the 56-24 decision to North Carolina. This was a game that they were in this game for pretty much the bulk of the game. They went into the half down 28-14, but they were still in this game. They were able to move the ball. The defense got some stops here and there, but Carolina just kind of wore them down. So let's take a look at the scoring summary first, and then we'll go into the box score a little bit. Carolina scored first with 5 minutes and 51 seconds left in the first quarter when Kamari Morales caught a 19-yard pass from Drake May. Extra point was good. That was a 7-play, 78-yard drive, taking 2 minutes and 21 seconds off the clock. FAMU would answer right back with 3 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the first quarter when A.J. Davis caught a 17-yard pass from Jeremy Musa. Extra point was good. 8 plays, 75 yards, 2 minutes and 30 seconds time possession, 7-7. So right back at him. And then with 29 seconds to go in the first quarter, Bryson Nesbitt caught a 23-yard pass from Drake May. Extra point good, 7 plays, 75 yards, 2 minutes and 52 seconds time of possession, 14-7 at that point. Gavin Blackwell would catch a 4-yard pass from Drake May to increase Carolina's lead to 21-7. 12 plays, 83 yards, 5 minutes and 9 seconds time of possession. Then with 2 minutes and 1 second to go in the first half, Jalen McLeod ran a tough 5-yard run, man. He just carried guys in the end zone with him to make the score 21-14. Extra point was good, obviously. That was a 12-play, 75-yard drive. Time of possession, 5 minutes and 38 seconds. And then with 5 seconds left in the first half, Josh Downs caught a 2-yard pass from May. Extra point good, 5 plays, 21 yards, 26 second time of possession, 28-14. 12 minutes and 10 seconds left in the third quarter. Marion Hampton ran a 1-yard touchdown for Carolina. Extra point was good. 7 plays, 65 yards, 2 minutes and 50 seconds time of possession, 35-14. 7 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the third quarter. Romo Martinez kicked a 35-yard field goal for FAMU, capping a 10-play, 57-yard drive that took 4:29 off the clock, 35-17. Trevonte Davis would catch a 22-yard pass from Musa for FAMU to make the score 35-24 after the extra point. 5 plays, 60 yards, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. And then Carolina would score 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, one by George Petterway with a 29-yard run. Josh Downs would catch a 27-yard pass from May. Then Marion Hampton would run a 25-yard touchdown to wrap up the scoring with 8 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. But really solid effort from FAMU, especially first half. First downs, 20 for FAMU, 29 for Carolina. 56. Let's see. 27 attempts for FAMU, rushing for 56 net yards. They ran for 2.1 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Carolina ran the ball for 314 yards on the night, 40 carries, 7.9 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. 279 yards passing for FAMU, 28 of 39, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They completed. They had 10 yards per completion, 7.2 yards per attempt. Carolina 294 yards passing, 29 of 38, no touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Total offense 335 yards for FAMU on 66 plays, average 5.1 yards per play. They did have 1 fumble that they lost. 8 penalties for 48 yards, 608 yards for the Tar Heels on 78 plays, 7.8 yards per play. They did fumble once, but didn't lose it. They had 5 penalties for 45 yards, 45.5 yard average on punts for the Rattlers, 49.5 for the Tar Heels. Punt returns, FAMU only ended up with 1 yard on a return. Carolina 35. Time of possession 29 minutes and 1 second for the Rattlers, 30 minutes and 59 seconds for the Tar Heels. 5 of 13 on third downs for FAMU, 2 of 2 on fourth down. They were 3 of 3 in the red zone. They did not register a sack. Carolina 7 of 12 on third down, 2 of 3 on fourth downs. They were 4 of 5 in the red zone, and they had 3 sacks on the night. Looking at some individual guys, Jeremy Musa was 28 of 38 for 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. Rashawn McKay came in, threw 1 pass, was incomplete. Drake May went the whole way for Carolina. He was 29 of 37 for 294 yards and 5 touchdowns. Terrell Jennings led FAMU with 10 carries for 37 yards. No touchdown, 3.9 yards per carry. AJ Davis, 6 carries for 10 yards, 1.7 yards per carry. Jalen McLeod, 2 carries for 8 yards and a touchdown, 4 yards per carry. And Rashawn McKay had 1 carry for 5 yards. Omarion Hampton had 14 carries for the Tar Heels for 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 7.2 yards per carry. Elijah Green, 8 carries, 69 yards, and 8.6 yards per carry. Drake May, 4 carries for 55 yards, 13.8 yards per carry. George Pettaway, 4 carries for 51 yards, 12 yards per carry. Jacoby Criswell, 1 carry for 17 yards. Caleb Hood, 4 carries for 11 yards. DJ Jones, 5 carries for 10 yards. Xavier Smith had 10 catches for FAMU for 78 yards. Trevonte Davis, 3 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown. Darian Oxendine, 4 catches, 43 yards. David Manigo, 3 catches, 38 yards. Terrell Jennings, 2 catches, 22 yards. AJ Davis, 2 catches, 20 yards and a touchdown. Kobe Gross, 1 catch for 15 yards. Jamarish Reed, 1 catch for 9 yards. Jalen McLeod, 1 catch for 6 yards. Carolina was led by Josh Downs with 9 catches for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bryson Nesbitt, 4 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. John Copenhaver, 2 catches for 44 yards. Gavin Blackwell, 4 catches for 36 yards and a touchdown. Kamari Morales, 2 catches for 33 yards and a touchdown. JJ Jones, 3 catches for 33 yards. Caleb Hood, 1 catch for 12 yards. Kobe Paysauer, 1 catch for 7 yards. DJ Jones, 2 catches for 5 yards. George Pettaway, 1 catch for -5 yards. FAMU was led in tackles by Isaiah Major with 9. Timothy Williams with 8. Kendall Bowler with 6. Johnny Chaney with 6. Kimani King with 6. Courtney Cox with 5. Darius Fagan with 5. Lovey Jenkins with 5. Eric Smith with 5. Tackles for loss. Stanley Mentor, 1.5. King, 1. Major, half a tackle for loss. Chaney, half a tackle for loss. James Ash, half a tackle for loss. No sacks. 1 forced fumble by Eric Smith. No fumble recoveries. Carolina was led by Power Echols with 10 tackles. Dante Balfour with 6. Cedric Gray with 6. Cameron Kelly with 5. Storm Duck with 4. DeAndre Boykins with 4. Kimon Rucker with 4. tackles for loss. Rucker and Eccles each had 2 tackles for loss apiece. Taylor, Boykins, they each had 1 tackle for loss on the night. Sacks went to Taylor, Rucker, and Eccles. They each had 1. Rucker also had a forced fumble. Recovery was by DeAndre Boykins. Interception was by Storm Duck. So that, like I said, FAMU kind of, they came out and, they did what they could do. They played a very competitive game under the circumstances. And, they really never quit. They just got kind of worn down. Obviously, that was going to happen in a game like this, but it was, a tight game through 3 quarters. So, that's pretty much all you can ask for in a game like this, is to come out and to, just show it off. You would wish they had a full squad so they can show everything that they had, but you have to do what you got to do. You got to go with what you got, and they did a good job in that. So, really solid effort for them, and now they move on to their big game on next week. This week coming up against Jackson State in the Orange Blossom Classic, and of course we'll preview that game for you here on SWAC Talk. So make sure you check that out when we come at you with that. Before we jump into the next game, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. I just was so fired up to start the show, I didn't even do my normal intro other than who I am and what I do. Make sure y'all check out those socials, man. Facebook is SWAC Talk, Instagram is SWAC Talk, Twitter, SWAC Talk 76. I'm always on those, especially on the Twitter page, really active there. So holler at me on any of those and I'll holler back. We're over 700 subscribers, man. So salute to all of y'all who have subscribed. To everybody who hasn't, if this is your first time checking out the show or you just haven't subscribed yet, man, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? We're trying to march to that 1K. So we getting there though, you know what I'm saying? We getting there. So I'd like to thank y'all who have already subscribed. And I'm gonna thank y'all in advance for y'all who haven't subscribed, because I know y'all will at some point. So just go ahead and hit that button, man, and then hit that notification bell so you can be alerted to any content that I drop. So don't miss out on anything. Like the videos and share them, and feel free to comment on the week 0 action. So let's get back to the regular scheduled program, and let's talk about the game that everybody, the MEAC SWAC challenge. I mean, the SWAC has come up short in this game majority of the times, and this was a must win. Everybody felt like this was a game that, Alabama State could not lose, regardless of what the circumstances was for the team. Everybody was like, this was a must win. And this was a crazy game off the field, man. The weather was just, I kept tabs on the pregame stuff, and the weather looked really good. A lot of, didn't really seem to have no issues. And then before game time, the skies opened up, man, and lightning and everything, and they had a weather delay. The game got going again. Then they had another weather delay, and then toward the end of the game, they had another weather delay. So this game ended up ultimately starting at like 7:30 instead of 6 o'clock, and it ended at 12:20 a.m. So this was, if you was there, man, and you went and you stayed for the full thing, then salute to you, because you're a big dog, man. You dedicated, and you got an uneven performance, but this was a game that I kind of expected. If you watch my preview or you watch SWAC Smoke, I said I felt like this was going to be a sloppy game, just because, Alabama State's coming in, new head coach. This is first game as a coach and a head coach, and they got a new quarterback. They got new systems on both sides of the ball. They're playing a Howard team who has some offensive talent and some defensive talent, but they are, a team that hasn't won much. So both teams were going to try to find their way. And I thought Alabama State's defense was going to be the key to this game. And they really were, as they helped Alabama State win this game by a score of 23-13. Almost on my prediction. I said 2017, so really not that far off, but, hey, almost don't count. Howard actually scored first when Dylan West kicked a 33-yard field goal for them, capping a 12-play, 51-yard drive. 4 minutes and 29 seconds. There was 3-0 score. 3 minutes and 48 seconds left in the first quarter. Jawan Howell got Alabama State on the board. with a 3-yard run, 8 plays, 55 yards, 3 minutes and 50 seconds off the clock. The extra point was never attempted. The snap was bad, and they couldn't get it off. 12 minutes and 22 seconds left in the second quarter. Isaiah Scott caught an 11-yard pass from Demetrius Davis. Extra point was good. 7 plays, 17 yards, 77 yards, 3 minutes and 35 second time of possession. Score was 13-3. 4 minutes and 54 seconds left in the second quarter. Dylan West kicked another field goal for Howard, excuse me. 28-yard field goal this time, 18 plays, 72 yards, 7 minutes and 28 seconds off the clock. That made the score 13-6. With 4 minutes and 6 seconds left in the third quarter, Ja'Cory Merritt, 21-yard run for the Hornets to make the score 20-6 after the extra point. 9 plays, 84 yards, 5 minutes and 18 seconds off the clock. 10 minutes and 1 second left in the game. Jared Hunter had a 5-yard touchdown run for Howard. Extra point was good. 6 plays, 47 yards. Time of possession, 1 minute and 48 seconds. 20-13 at that point after the extra point. With 3 minutes and 29 seconds left in the game, Nathaniel Eckner, 29-yard field goal for the Hornets, capping a 12-play, 63-yard drive. 6 minutes and 32 second time possession made the margin 23-13, and that would be your final margin at that point. I thought Alabama State offensively, they showed flashes, and that's kind of what I heard coming into this game. That this team, sometimes they would make great plays, and other times they wouldn't. I thought Demetrius Davis played a solid game at quarterback. He did have some mistakes, but that's to be expected from a guy who's basically playing his first college football game. So you're gonna get those ups and downs, but the electricity was there. The athletic ability was there. The ability to get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs was there. The arm was there in spurts. The running game as a whole was up and down. Everybody, really was in and out, but the defense was solid. They did a really good job in this game. Looking at the stats, both teams had 17 first downs. Howard would run the ball for 127 yards on the night on 31 carries, averaged 4.1 yards per carry with 1 touchdown. Alabama State 115 yards on the ground on 33 carries, 3.5 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. 141 yards through the air for Howard, 17-32, no touchdowns and 1 interception, which was a horrible interception. That was one of those plays that kind of turned the game around a little bit. That was just a very, very bad throw by the quarterback. Alabama State was 17-24 on the night, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They averaged, they had 245 yards through the air, 268 yards total offense for the Bison, 63 plays, 4.3 yards per play. They did fumble once, didn't lose it. They had 8 penalties for 65 yards. Alabama State 360 yards on the night. On 57 plays, 6.3 yards per play. They fumbled once and lost it, so 2 turnovers for them. Howard I think they only had 5 takeaways last season, so they got 2 already. So they're ahead of the game on that aspect. But 11 penalties for 100 yards for Alabama State. That's gotta change. The turnovers have to go away. But a solid first game. 39 yards per punt for Howard, 31.5 yards per punt for Alabama State. Time of possession, 30 minutes and 41 seconds for Howard, 29 minutes and 19 seconds for Alabama State. 4-12 on third down for Howard, 1 of 2 on fourth down. They had 2 scores in the red zone out of 3 chances, and they had 2 sacks on the night. Alabama State, 4 of 11 on third down with a 29-minute and 19-second time of possession. They were 1 for 1 on fourth down. They were 4 of 4 in the red zone, so that's always great. 2 sacks also for them on the night. Individually, Quentin Williams with 17-32 for Howard, 141 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. Demetrius Davis, 16-23 for Alabama State, 184 yards and 1 touchdown, also an interception. He was sacked twice. Miles Crowley came in. He was 1 for 1 for 61 yards, so a big play out of him. Casey Hawthorne led Howard with 4 carries for 39 yards, 9.8 yards per carry. Jared Hunter 10 carries, 32 yards and a touchdown. Ian Wheeler, 4 carries for 23 yards. Eden James, 5 carries for 15 yards. Ja'Cory Merritt led Alabama State with 15 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown, 3.7 yards per carry. Demetrius Davis, 9 carries for 37 yards, 4.1 yard per carry. Santo Dunn, 4 carries for 14 yards. And Juwan Howell, 4 carries for 11 yards and a touchdown. Richie Iraza, he had 7 catches for 36 yards on the night. Those 7 catches were the most ever in a MEAC SWAC Challenge game. Not a lot of yards on those catches, but he caught 7 passes on the night. And Antoine Murray, 3 catches for 32 yards. Nashawn Hezekiah, 3 catches for 28 yards. Christian Carter, 2 catches for 18 yards. Ian Wheeler, 1 catch for 17 yards. Jared Hunter, 1 catch for 10 yards. Isaiah Scott led Alabama State with 4 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. He did catch that 61-yard pass from Crowley. Ja'Cory Merritt, 3 catches, 48 yards. Levante Chenault, 3 catches for 44 yards. Tyrese Sanders, 1 catch for 37 yards. Santo Dunn, 2 catches, 24 yards. Jeremiah Hickson, 2 catches for 13 yards on the night. Defensively, Kenny Gallup led Howard with 8 tackles. Clayton Perrin, also 8 tackles. Jabari Knighton with 8 tackles. Terrence Holon, 7 tackles. Ray Williams, Jevin Jackson, they each had 6 tackles apiece. 5 tackles for Darian Brokenberg. Tackles for loss, they were led by Williams and Gallup with 2 tackles for loss apiece. 1.5 and for Brown and Jackson. 1 tackle apiece for loss for Clayton Perrin and Hinton. They each had 1. Sacks went to Gallup and Brown. They each had 1 sack apiece. Brown also had a forced fumble. Recovery was by Jackson. Interception was by Terrence Holon. Alabama State was led in tackles by Keenan Isaac with 7. Adrian Maddox with 6. Colton Adams with 5. Glad to see him in action. A lot of people felt like he may not have played in this game, but he was able to get out there and play. So 5 tackles for him on the night. Demarius Bellamy with 4 tackles. Stephon Young Roll with 4 tackles. Tackles for loss. Young Roll with 2. Brandon Gaddy with 1. Davis with 1. Isaac with a half a tackle for loss. Cole Pepper half a tackle for loss. Young Roll, he had 2 sacks on the night. Forced fumble went to Jackson. Interception went to Maddox. So all in all, like I said, a really solid game. Not a great flashy game. It wasn't like this huge coming out party for Alabama State, but the potential is there. And that's pretty much all you can ask for in a game like this, is to come out and do what you can to survive. You want to just make it through this first game, and you did. You showed a lot of good things. You showed some things that you had to work on. So now you get you got a game under your belt before you head into the Miles game this week. I keep on saying next week, but that's technically this week. So that helps a lot to have that game under your belt. Like I always say, the cliche is you improve the most between your first game and your second game. So they should get better now that they have a game under their belts. And we'll see what happens, with the Hornets next week. This week, man, I cannot get that right. Whatever. On Saturday, we'll see what they do. Just to look at a couple opponents that's on SWAC schedules who played yesterday. Austin Peay gave Western Kentucky everything they wanted, man. They led that game for a little while, and then they were never really out of it. They lost 38-27. So it's a nice effort by the Governors right there. They hung in there against the FBS opponent. Could have got the dub, but came up short. A game that was basically, kind of held up by the weather. Stephen F. Austin jumped on Jacksonville State early. It looked like they were going to run them out the stadium, but Jacksonville State went on a crazy run and beat them 42-17. They ran the ball like crazy on Stephen F. Austin. So if you're Alcorn, that's something that you might want to kind of put a pin in and see if you can have some of that success. Just to let you know, Jacksonville State ran for 285 yards on the night. They had a 100-yard rusher and a 90-yard rusher. and a guy with almost 60 yards. So they ran the ball 47 times for almost 300 yards. So they were very successful on the ground. They had 5 touchdowns on the ground as well. So they were very, very productive in that aspect. Stephen F. Austin is a team who has a great quarterback, but Trey Self was unable to get going. He was 14 of 29 on the night for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. But this is not a Stephen F. Austin show, so that's it for that. But that game against Alcorn is a game Alcorn we'll talk about on during the week, and a game on another opponent for a SWAC team, Florida Memorial, who Southern plays this weekend. They beat Edward Waters by a score of 39-34. This was a wild game, man. First half, the score was 26-0. Florida Memorial, they really looked like they were about to just blow Edward Waters completely out the stadium. And Edward Waters basically outscored them 34-13 in the second half. So to make this a one-scored game, you know, they had a chance in the fourth quarter to pull ahead or get close to taking the lead, but they could never get out of their own way. But this was a crazy game, so I just, you know, wanted to share that score. Again, 39-34 Florida Memorial. And that's going to do it for the week 0 action. We'll be back during the week with our week 1 preview. We're going to try to break it up because, you know, there's some Thursday games and also there's a game on Sunday. So we're going to try to break it up. Might try to do 2 shows or whatever, but I'll get all of that out there. SWAC Smoke live as usual on 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. And got a couple of things coming out. Got a couple of appearances here and there on other shows. So stay tuned to my socials for that. And I'll give you information on where you can catch me this week. So that's gonna do it for today's show. Hope you guys have a good Sunday, and hopefully everybody can stay dry and we can get ready for week 1 action this week. So with that being said, man, I'm your boy C Wells signing out. I hope y'all have a good day, and we'll catch y'all this week. Peace.